Hello, and welcome to GBA Time, a chronological series for the Game Boy Advance. Our game up today, game number 83, is Midway's Greatest Arcade Hits. This was released in November 2001. Midway was formed in 1958. Their first arcade game was in 1973. They were a pinball publisher prior to that. They folded in 2010, as many companies do. Midway Arcade Treasures. There was 24 arcade games on the consoles at the time. GameCube and Xbox and PS2 came out in 2003. Let's get into the gameplay here. So one cool thing about this is it does have the original arcade cabinets. So we're going to go into each of the 4 games featured here. And this is Defender. We're going to do each of these for about a minute and a half, just so you can see that gameplay for each of the 4 games featured here. Defender is definitely a space shooter. What was new at the time was that you go left and right. And you gotta avoid the enemies, obviously, but the pedestrians, the humans at the bottom, you have to protect them from being captured by the aliens. So, Defender, you're defending Earth against these alien forces, and I did a terrible job at that. So I had a very quick game over here. And unfortunately, you'll see I had all 4 games that we're playing today. I am terrible at. I am not a fan of space shooters, and this noise was pretty annoying. So we're going to give this one more attempt here. Alright, we're going to get into our second game here, Robotron 2084. This one's going to look a little bit different. And actually, you know what? This reminds me of what I've been playing on Stardew Valley. There's a mini game in there, Prairie of the Something King, where it's a similar concept, where you have enemies coming at you at all sides, and you have to defeat them. And in Robotron's case here, you gotta save the humans. So it's another Save the Humans game from the aliens. So we're saving the humans. This has a lot of flashing, but a lot of bright colors. So it's a unique experience at that time in the arcades. All these flashing colors. And I'm sure when people brought this home on their Atari 8-bit system, Atari 2600, this was very impressive. But unfortunately, at least for me, I have no nostalgia for any of these games. So I will play through them and see where that goes. And if any of you have nostalgia for any of these games and compliment it more, let me know. But this was not a favorite game that I played. I played through a few packs thus far, and this was my least favorite, unfortunately. There was one we played very early on, around episode 2 or 3, when I was still doing 4 games at one time, where we did Ms. Pac-Man, Pole Position, and Dig Dug. And there was one other one that was really fun. So those I do have nostalgia for. But we got Joust here. And Joust Plays a lot like Balloon Fight if you've ever played that on the NES. That's a game you can play on the Switch Online service, is Balloon Fight. So Joust is a precursor to that game, inspiration for that game. And that's the best thing I know about Joust. And our last game in the pack is Sinistar. So this is kind of a creepy game overall. Fly your ship around. When you defeat the enemies, you can fly all over space, which is just kind of cool. Defeat these alien ships. You can fly all over space. And defeat these mini ships. Gather your points. And if you run into the giant ship, which we should here in our clip, at least I hope so, that is your goal, to defeat that giant ship. That is really tough to defeat. But flying all over the place. You can just keep flying in any direction you want. It's a really cool concept, at least at that time. But like I said earlier, these shooting noises, especially in this game, just drove me nuts. So this sound design, it's accurate for what it should be, but my God, feels like we can do better. And this collection had 4 games on it. There was another collection on consoles, on all consoles at that time, that had 24 Midway games. So if you're looking to play these classic games from Midway, definitely try to find a PS2 version. PS2 or original Xbox. And unfortunately, a lot of these games have not been ported to modern consoles because Midway has shut down. So, I've seen some posts online asking the company who bought many of these properties to release a collection like this, because that would sell pretty well. Because a lot of these collections on modern consoles actually sell pretty well. They're kind of cheap to manufacture, to put together. That's usually a nice profit for these companies. Imagine seeing that in the arcades. That would be creepy, wouldn't it? That would be creepy as all heck. Oh, there it is again. There it is. Let's see if I can get some shots in on it. Nope, got me immediately. Once again. So I imagine some people are masters at this. Not me. Did not break the top 10 on any of these mini games or in any of these games in this collection. So that is all 4 games in the Midway Greatest Arcade Hits series. So we're going to get into this pros and cons list here. Alright, pros for Midway Arcade Classics. The arcade cabinets to pick are on the title screen. The cons, awful sounding, awful space shooting sound. And there's way better Midway collections out there. And again, on these collections, there's no high score saved. I've been harping on this every time we get to one of these arcade collections. I gave this a D, and I ranked this 77 out of 83. I just did not enjoy this. Next episode here, Frogger's Adventures, Temple of the Frog, next time we meet. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day.